Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are going to be doing a Star Wars movies and series ranking. So, Fletcher, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a big Star Wars fan, and we did the Marvel tier list a while back, so it's only fitting that we do this one too.
Indeed. Fletcher, do you want to go over the ranking system that we have for this video?
Yeah, so we have our esteemed five-tier ranking system of masterpiece, good, mid, ass, and mega ass. And I feel like for Star Wars, it's gonna be pretty polarizing. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of masterpieces and a lot of mega
I
asses.
I
So
completely agree. Let's start off. We got everything here in chronological order here, so Uh, first things first, we got Star Wars Acolyte Fletcher. Now, this show was a very controversial show when it came out, so I don't know. What do you think about this one?
I will say it it's not the worst thing ever because it was kind of entertaining, even if it was like ironically entertaining just because of all the memes and stuff. I wouldn't say it's the worst Star Wars thing ever made. And I mean, do you hold on? We should probably specify. Do you want to rank these based on like entertainment value or like how good they actually were?
I'd say let's do a balance of both. Yeah,
Okay,
let's
okay.
let's do a little
So
balance.
it's definitely going in one of the bottom two tier. Probably, I would say probably. Let's put it in Mega S for now. We'll
Yeah,
see.
we can move it up later.
I don't think it's the worst thing though. So
Yeah, I do feel like this show is really badly written. I think that's
hmm
like the most like poorly like one of the most poorly written Star Wars shows. But
yeah, and
it was low key entertaining.
I will say I do appreciate that they did try to do something new. I feel like
Yeah,
that's kind of been my problem with a lot of the modern Star Wars stuff is it's kind of retreads of past stuff.
yeah,
So this was kind of a new-ish idea, but it just wasn't very good.
yeah. So we'll put it in Mega Ass for now, but it has a chance to redeem itself
Yeah, it could
later
make a
on.
late charge.
Yeah, and now moving on to our first movie, we have Episode One: The Phantom Menace, and this movie's low key a snooze fest, but
Yeah,
it's not the worst thing on this list. So
I will
where would you
say
rank this?
this for a long time was my least favorite Star Wars movie, and it might still be. But when I did rewatch this in the theaters, I think it
Mm,
was last year when they
yeah,
re-released it. I did enjoy it a lot more.
yeah,
I again, it's not, it's definitely not mega ass.
no,
I would probably put it in the ass tier though. I think it is still probably the worst movie
I
out of all of
agree,
them.
I agree. Yeah,
It's just it's kind of entertaining. Like some of the parts because of the memes and stuff, but I mean, just watching the whole movie from start to finish, it is very boring, and the plot is just way too convoluted for a Star Wars
yeah.
movie.
It does give us one of the best lightsaber duels in Star Wars like cinematic history, though, with the
Yeah,
Obi-Wan Maul Qui-Gon duel. Duel of
but
Fates
I
is
think I
insane.
would say this also I would say has one of the worst endings of the Star Wars movie. There's
Yeah,
four different things going
yeah,
on at the end. It's just way too much, dude. It's literal brain rot.
yeah. So we have this as ass, but this next movie, I don't know. What do you
I
think?
I
Attack of
I
the
I
Clones.
do like this movie a lot more than Episode One. I will say.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's not a great movie, but it is watchable and it is entertaining. And I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe it's the memes that kind of put this one up there a little bit for me, but I do like it a lot more than Episode One. I would
Yeah.
probably.
Movie at the top of ass or like low
Yeah,
mid.
it's either low mid or top of ass.
Yeah. So I do like this movie as well, but in particularly, I like the second half of the movie more than like the first half, which moves
Yeah,
really slow.
yeah.
I do feel like the prequels were kind of poorly written, so I do feel like that kind of has to play a role into this. But I feel like the ending of the movie's kind of entertaining at least.
The ending is pretty crazy.
Yeah. So for now, do you want to just put it at mid?
I think so.
Yeah. And then we have the animated Clone Wars movie from 2008. And now a lot of people hate this and a lot of people love this. Like it's kind of like 50-50. So what are your thoughts first about this?
I mean, it's just weird because it's not. It wasn't like made to be a movie. It's just like three episodes, kind of like
Yeah,
cut
combined.
together.
Yeah.
Um, which to me kind of annoys me. I think it's okay. I
It's
mean,
yeah,
I would probably put it. I'd probably put it in the mid tier as
I
well.
agree. Would you put it underneath Attack of the Clones?
I probably would, to be
Yeah. So
honest.
yeah, we'll put it
Yeah,
like right there. I completely agree. I feel like it was more like a pilot type of thing for the Clone Wars
right.
show. So I don't know. It was fine when it came out. I liked it as a kid, so
Hmm.
it's fine.
I think the Clone Wars series definitely got better as it
Oh
went
yeah,
on. I feel like the first few seasons were
yeah.
definitely worse than the rest of it, but
And speaking of the Clone Wars, next up we have the monstrosity of the show, the Clone Wars. All seven
it's
seasons were,
this. Yeah, I mean, this has got to be a masterpiece.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I do feel like some of the episodes were kind of like really ass in the show, but like the peaks of the show
Yeah,
are like pure master classes, man. And this is probably one of my favorite shows of all time.
yeah, it's
So,
got to be a masterpiece.
immediate masterpiece, S tier. And then we have another big movie here, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, what are your thoughts on this movie?
It's definitely the best of the prequels for sure,
Yeah.
and I like this movie a lot. It honestly kind of reminds me of like Infinity War,
Ooh, yeah.
like that kind of type of movie, to where it's like nonstop action
Uh
from the
huh.
from the start to the end. Which I mean, yeah, it's still got most of the same flaws that the prequels do, kind of the bad acting and some of the weird writing and dialogue and stuff. But I really like this movie. I mean, it's probably the most entertaining Star Wars movie. So I think that
Yeah,
alone has to put it in masterpiece.
I completely agree. I mean, this movie is probably arguably my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. I mean, that Obi-Wan Anakin lightsaber duel is insane. So, yeah, for sure, masterpiece. Would you put it after the Clone Wars or before the Clone Wars?
I would put it behind the Clone
Yeah.
Wars.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. And then we have another TV show, animated, The Bad Batch. And I mean, a lot of people referred to it as a sad batch when it came out. But I feel like the show got better as the show went on. Um, so I don't know. I'd put it in mid, maybe.
I
I
think,
feel like it was an okay TV show.
yeah, I think that's fine. To be honest, I didn't really watch this one too much,
Yeah,
so I don't really have any strong opinions about it. But
yeah. I'd put it after Attack of the Clones.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, or actually, I'd put it before Attack of the Clones actually.
That's fine.
But yeah, it was a solid show. And then next up, we have Solo, a Star Wars story.
I actually really like this movie,
Same,
even
I
though
really do
everyone
like
hated
it.
on it. It's an entertaining movie. It's also just well made.
I do like it a
Um,
lot.
it was, yeah, it wasn't the most necessary thing in the world, but it's a decent movie. I would probably put it in the good tier, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I thought this movie was really entertaining. That was like the
Hmm.
biggest like plus out of this movie is that it was super entertaining. I know a lot of people were hating on the casting for Solo,
I think the casting was pretty
but
solid.
yeah, I liked Donald Glover as
Uh
Lando,
huh.
and yeah, Solo was perfect. Like casting wise, I thought it was pretty good. And then yeah, the ending with Maul was pretty crazy, but yeah, I completely agree. Putting it in good would make a lot of sense here. And then next up, we have another very highly rated show here. I don't know if you've seen Andor yet, season two.
I've seen the first season. I haven't seen the second one
Yeah, the
yet.
second season just came out at the time of recording this video and is ranked as one of the best TV seasons of all time in any show now. So,
I mean, I really enjoyed the first one. I think that
yeah,
that prison episode with
for
Andy
sure.
Serkis, I think
Yeah.
is one of the best
I Can't
episodes of
Swim.
TV. Yeah, I think I've ever seen. It was so
Yeah.
great, and I mean, I really like this show a lot. I don't. It's it's something that is kind of different from a lot of other Star Wars
Uh-huh.
shows, as it kind of takes itself like very seriously,
Yeah.
and like they did a really good job making the stakes very high in the show, even though we know like what's going to happen at the end of it, and we
Oh,
already
yeah.
know everything. And I think what it does well is it builds like a New Hope and Rogue One up a little bit by adding a little bit of context to it, and it makes those better as a
Yeah.
result.
I completely agree. And I mean, yeah, I don't think you've seen. Yeah, you haven't seen season two of this, right?
No,
But yeah, I've seen season two of this, and the way it turns kind of like a background character in a sense of Rogue One he, into like one of the best written characters of all of Star Wars. Like at this point, like after season two, I might put Cassian Andor in my top five Star Wars characters of all time.
yeah,
After that, so I genuinely think that like the the way they directed this and like the way it was written, like there was zero lightsabers. Like it kind of shows that you don't need like Darth Vader or like
mm,
Luke to like tell a good Star Wars story, which is something that like a couple of the shows later on kind of do, where it's just cameo like fan
yeah.
service. So I I'd say I'd put Andor a masterpiece.
I think so too.
Like, it is such a good show, perfect show in my opinion. So yeah, I'd put it after Revenge of the Sith,
I
but
think
yeah,
it's
it'd be
fine.
in my masterpiece.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then next up, we have another TV show, Star Wars Rebels, another animated TV show. What are your thoughts on this?
Um, I don't know.
It
I
was
watched this
solid.
as a kid. It was okay.
Yeah.
I think it's very forgettable, and it's definitely not as great as the Clone Wars
Yeah.
show. So,
Yeah, I think it's a good story. I wasn't a big
hmm
fan of the animation style. Like I prefer the Clone Wars
yeah.
animation.
I mean, I'm just not a big fan of the characters either. Like,
Yeah.
I just do not care. I mean, it had some moments.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Obi-Wan Maul
Oh yeah.
fight was very nice.
Yeah. I'd put it in good or like the top of mid,
I would
like
probably,
low good.
I yeah, I'm fine with either of those.
Yeah.
I would personally, I'd probably put it top of mid,
Top of
but
mid.
I'm fine if you want to put it good.
Yeah. I really did like the show. The storytelling was much it was really good. I feel like some aspects of it were better than the Clone Wars in storytelling wise, but overall as a show, it was okay. And then we have another movie. This might be one of my favorite Star Wars movies after Revenge of the Sith. Also,
Yeah,
Rogue One.
I 100%
Where
agree.
would you put this?
This is a masterpiece for me. This
Oh
is
yeah, oh yeah,
I would say this is my favorite movie outside the
it
original
is.
trilogy. I mean,
Yeah,
it is basically an original trilogy
yeah,
movie, but when this came out, I mean, I it's just so phenomenal. Like both the cinematography and like the action scenes of this movie are the by far the best of any Star
I
Wars
loved
thing
it. Yeah,
ever. And the story also is so like dark and so like grounded. Um, like it's very different from most of the Disney Star Wars stuff. I think it's by far the best thing that Disney's done with Star Wars. This and the Andor show.
yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like watching Andor before this, like I literally did this. I watched season one, season two of Andor, and then I watched Rogue One, and it made Rogue One 10 times
Uh
better
huh.
watching it. I mean, like
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of see like casting Andor as like a completely different character after
Hmm.
watching that. But yeah, the villains were good. I liked Krennic. I liked the Vader hallway scene,
Yeah.
forever
Yeah.
immortalized, bro. But yeah, I loved it.
I will say I do think the first half of this movie is kind of slow at
Yeah.
times, which kind of is the only reason why it's probably not my favorite Star Wars movie,
Uh
to be
huh.
honest. But the ending alone, I mean, the final
Yeah.
15 minutes are insane.
I think it's deserving of that masterpiece.
I think so too.
Yeah. And then we have the original trilogy. Starting off with A New Hope. I mean, I love this movie. I feel like it started Star Wars. It's a good movie for like the 1970s as well.
I completely agree. This is a
Like
top
generational.
both this and Empire Strikes
Oh
Back are
yeah.
both top 20 movies of all time for
Uh huh.
me. And I feel like too watching this back to back with Rogue One is also very good because I feel
Yeah.
like Rogue One has such like an action oriented ending, and then this movie is very slowly paced, which I know a lot of people don't like that, but
Yeah.
I think the world building and the character building in this movie are amazing. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
started the whole franchise, and the Battle of Yavin, the climax of this movie is I think it's
Insane.
still my favorite Star Wars scene.
Oh yeah.
And Rogue One kind of makes that so much better
Oh
because
yeah.
everything that led to that. But
So would you put this in a masterpiece
I'm
or the
this
top
is
of good?
I'm putting this in masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
I think it has to be.
All right. And then we have Empire Strikes Back. I'd put this. I low-key thought this movie. This is probably my. I don't know actually.
It's definitely a
I like it.
masterpiece as
I
well.
like it more than A New Hope.
I do
That's the
too.
thing. So I mean, nothing but praise here. This movie was perfect. I mean, I feel like my favorite scene out of the original trilogies was the Battle of Hoth, like the
Yeah.
AT-ATs, the snow speeders. It was so cool. It was so memorable. And then yeah, the world building continues from New Hope. I mean,
Hmm.
Bespin getting introduced, Yoda getting introduced, some top tier like Star Wars moments right there.
Yeah. I feel like I love the scenes with Yoda in this movie.
Yeah,
Um, the do or do not. There is no try scene is
yeah,
amazing. That Lego set is also amazing. I got that in my room. But
yeah,
I think this is better than A New Hope. I
yeah.
would say this is probably my favorite Star Wars movie, even though that's kind of cliche to say.
Mhm.
I would honestly, I'd probably put this top of masterpiece.
Top of
I
masterpiece.
think so.
Okay, that's a huge moment right here. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, I have nothing bad to say about this movie. This movie is really good. And then we have the Return of the Jedi, the ending of the original trilogy. Now, I really like this movie. It's a good movie. I feel
Hmm.
like at some points it's kind of slower,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's still such a good movie. Like I wouldn't put it as a masterpiece, maybe,
No,
but good.
it's definitely the weakest of the original trilogy. But I do think it also has my two outside.
Yeah,
It's got two of the best moments in Star Wars, in
yeah,
my opinion. With the opening scene at Jabba's palace is amazing, and then the Luke versus Vader
yeah.
fight
I
um,
agree.
is also phenomenal.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the whole Ewok side quest on Endor. I thought that was kind of boring. The
yeah,
space battle is also pretty good too at the end
yeah.
of
I
this
do like
movie.
it. I'd put it at the top of good. I'd
I
put
would
it
put it
above
in the.
Solo.
I would
Yeah,
put it above Solo as
yeah.
well.
So yeah, I really do like this. Especially the ending is one of my favorites. Like the
Yeah,
when everybody's like chilling at the end in the
yeah.
fire, and you see like the Force ghosts of Obi Wan, Yoda, Anakin. Like it's perfect. And then we're moving on to the Mandalorian. Now I feel like this is one of the best things to come out of Disney Star Wars. Like Mandalorian in
Yes,
2019 was generational. It was something really different.
I I I think the first season was absolutely phenomenal. I would completely agree, but I do think the show did get worse off every
Yeah,
single season. And I think honestly, after season two, I would say the show was kind of mid
yeah.
to
Season
ass.
three kind of puts us lower, but season two, man. On the
Yeah,
final day of that, like the finale of season
yeah.
two,
The
when that came
finale was
out,
insane.
when Luke Skywalker showed up, I loved that. So I'd put it in good.
I would
I'd
put it
give
in
it good.
good. I would
Like
put it
above Solo or behind Solo.
I would probably put it above Solo, just because that
Yeah,
first season. If we were ranking the individual seasons, honestly, season
yeah.
one would be a masterpiece, and
Oh
maybe
yeah,
season two as well.
season two
But
as
season
well.
three was so ass.
Yeah, and I mean, next up we have the Book of Boba Fett, and
This
now
is fucking.
this I feel like the worst part about the show is that Boba Fett got sidelined in his own show
Yeah,
with the Mandalorian.
but I mean, to be fair, the best episodes from the show were the ones with the Mandalorian.
Yeah, the one
I
with Luke
mean, yeah,
Skywalker.
I mean, everything with Boba Fett was so boring in the show.
Yeah.
I just could not care.
And
And I
then
mean,
yeah, he had like his little goon squad
yeah,
and that one guy who kept on like spinning. I don't know, like it was so
this
weird.
show was so disappointing because I really wanted the show to be really
For
good because
sure.
Boba Fett is
He's such
obviously
yeah, such a cool
such an
character.
underdeveloped character that there was so much they could have done with him. But
I don't know. Where would you put
I would put
this?
this in
Ass,
ass. I think it's
ass.
ass. I would honestly, I'd probably put it below episode one as well. I think I'd rather
That's
watch episode
insane.
one than watch the show again.
Yeah. Now, moving on to another one of the kind of Mandoverse shows, we have Ahsoka, and I thought it was better than Book of Boba Fett. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
that's a pretty low bar though.
Yeah, I mean, one of the episodes really, I feel like it was kind of episode based, where it was
Hmm.
like one episode kind of carries the entire show, and I do feel like it was the Anakin and Ahsoka episode
Yeah,
that was like the best episode out of all of them. And I mean, I really do like the characters that they brought into this. Like they brought Thrawn back, who's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And then yeah, like they added Balin Skull, who's like a new character. Rest in peace to the actor. But yeah, he was an interesting character. He just kind of came out of nowhere. But I don't know. The rest of the show was kind of it just kind of felt like fan service. It wasn't like it was more cameo based rather than actual storytelling.
I would agree. And that alone to me, it is better than Book of Boba Fett for sure, but it is. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Do I like
See,
it more than Episode Two? No. Do I
it's
like it more than the Clone Wars movie? Probably not.
I don't. Yeah,
I probably put it in top of ass. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I think it was. This was kind of
Oh,
the moment too. I feel like where everyone kind of was done with Star Wars and be like, there's
yeah.
just too many
We're waiting on
shows.
Andor to save us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was okay. I'm actually looking forward to season two. I really hope it gets better from there. But
Hmm.
yeah, well, until season two comes out, I think it was a mid to okay like
I would
show.
agree with that.
But next up, now I've never seen this show,
I've only seen
so
clips. I'm not gonna lie.
like I've never like touched this show just because of like I've heard so much bad stuff about this.
Yeah,
Like as a standalone show, I feel like it's made for kids, right?
yeah, and that's what makes it hard to rate this. Is it's like made for little kids.
Yeah,
It's like
but like from what I've seen from the Star Wars community is that it's like a unified hate for this show from like anybody who's not like a 10-year old.
Yeah, I think
So
this has to go in mega ass. I'm
mega
not gonna lie.
ass. Like
I'd probably put it below
yeah,
anyway as
I was
well.
gonna say that as well. So yeah, I really don't have much to say about that show. But then now we're moving on to the sequels. So first off, we got The Force Awakens. Now in 2015, when I saw this movie in theaters, I actually really liked it. It
Yeah.
was different. What did you think?
Um. Yeah, I definitely liked this a lot at the time. I think one of my favorite memories ever was going to see this opening night.
Uh huh.
That was so peak. I was so excited for this, and I think the movie is decent. Like
It's
it's a
a
decent to good movie. It is basically just A New Hope, which kind of just pissed me off a little bit that
yeah.
they didn't try anything new.
Hmm.
But honestly, like rewatching this, it's definitely enjoyable. And honestly, like I rewatched all the sequel movies recently, and I actually liked them a lot more than I thought I would. Like I don't think they're horrific like some people make them out to be.
Yeah, I feel like The Force Awakens was my favorite out of the sequels, and all three.
Yeah,
I do feel like some of the stuff that they like kind of build off of like does not happen in the later two movies in the two
yeah,
movies. Like it just kind of didn't make sense.
yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's kind of the problem with these movies is they weren't really planned out and
Yeah.
they don't really build off each other very
Uh
well.
huh.
I would put this. I'm trying to decide if it's mid or good. It's either top of mid or
I'd
low
put
good.
mid.
Okay,
I'd say like top of mid.
I would put it top of mid as well then.
Yeah. And then we have Star Wars 8, Episode 8, the
This is a
last.
very
Yeah.
controversial movie. Probably the most controversial one on here.
Now, I'll start off with the good about this movie. I thought it was an entertaining movie. Like if it wasn't like connected to the Star Wars universe,
Hmm.
it would have been a very entertaining movie.
It feels like an MCU movie.
Yeah.
That's definitely what they were going for with this.
But when you connect it to the broader like Star Wars universe, it just does not make sense. Like none of it
Yeah,
it just does not like click, you know.
I could agree with that. I will say I think this movie has it's got the best and the worst moments of the sequel
I
trilogy.
I completely agree.
Um, I
I don't know. I'd put it either at the bottom of mid or like ass.
I would say because I there's a lot of stuff from this movie that I do like. Like I think everything with Ray is actually really good in this movie.
Uh-huh.
It's by far her best movie. And I know the Luke stuff is very controversial, but I
Yeah.
actually thought it was pretty solid. Like it actually opened up a new part of his character, and I'm glad they didn't bring him in, and it wasn't just like a stoic kind of like
Uh-huh.
meaningless character.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought his whole character arc made sense to me, and also I do like the ending of this movie. It is the battle on
Great.
Crate is very well done, and it's very cool. Um,
Yeah, the one thing I really hate about this movie is like the Finn sacrifice, like that he tried to
yes,
do,
he
and
should have just
then
died, bro.
yeah, like I feel like that would have been like a meaningful end to his character, but like no, it was like make love not war
Yeah.
type of like ending. Like
Well, yeah.
I guess it kind of fit to like they're restarting the resistance and all, but like I don't know.
And I feel like that too. I mean that the whole Finn, Poe, and Rose subplot is so horrible in this movie that it honestly drags the rest of it down. Like if this was just the Rey and Kylo
Yeah,
Ren and Luke main story, I think this would be actually a really good movie.
yeah.
But I mean, half of this movie is so horrible that it kind of ruins it. And I mean, Finn, like I don't know,
I feel
man.
like they started him off in Force
He
Awakens
was
as
the
like a
best
big
character.
character.
He was the
Yeah,
best character in
like
that movie, and then he just
he got
never had.
sidelined. Yeah,
Yeah, and his whole story makes no sense. Like,
no.
why is he like shooting stormtroopers, bro? He was a stormtrooper. He knows.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
I'd
know.
put this in ass, maybe.
I would be fine with that. I mean,
Like,
personally, I'd probably put it higher, but for a consensus ranking, I'd probably put
yeah,
it top. I would put it top of ass though.
yeah.
I do think it has pretty good moments. It's definitely more memorable than Ahsoka.
Now,
I
as a
think
final movie, Rise of Skywalker.
I think this is going to mega ass. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, when I saw this in theaters, I was looking like entertained in a way, but like after the recency bias like kind of wore off, I was like,
Yeah,
hold up, none of this makes sense.
it is. It is a like if you shut your brain off, it is like a solid like Fast and Furious type action. You know what I mean? Kind of like brain rot action movie.
Yeah,
But I mean, as the finale to the Star Wars saga, and even just as the finale to that trilogy, it's so terrible. And I mean,
Oh my god.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. Maybe this is a little controversial, but one of my favorite things from the Last Jedi was the whole plot about Rey's parents and how they made Rey's parents like they're like they don't matter at all. They were just like
They're just kind of random people.
right, and I think them undoing that in this movie was terrible. Like the Rey being Palpatine's granddaughter, awful. That
Like,
shit was
oh,
so
I mean,
ass.
also, like, where did Palpatine come
Yeah,
from? Like, is this
it's to
somehow
this day we do
like
not know, bro.
the worst line in Star Wars? Probably
It's
has to
just
be.
so bad writing, and I mean, it's pretty clear that they just had no idea how to finish off this trilogy, so they kind of just threw this together last
Yeah,
minute.
I feel like yeah, they weren't working with much to be honest. Like, to be fair, they weren't really working with much after the Last Jedi. Like, I kind of feel
Yeah,
like the Last Jedi kind of derailed the entire franchise after that. But like, it's still a really bad movie.
and I will say maybe this is unfair to hold it against this movie, but the Colin Trevorrow Duel of Fates, that script I think was so much better than this. I think that
I
would have been such a better
I
movie.
completely agree. I also really like the ending of that, like what they
Right,
had, like with the Stormtrooper rebellion or
I
whatever. With
completely agree.
like,
That makes sense for
it makes
Finn.
yeah, it makes Finn a so much
Oh
like a
my
better
gosh,
character. And then yeah, like having like General
General Hux,
Hux. Like I know like this is something that I just like recently I came up across on like
bro.
TikTok. It's like a
Yes,
clip of
bro.
General Hux, man. And like how did he? This guy literally blew up the entire New Republic with like the
Yes,
Death
bro.
Star on crack, and then he just like I'm the Resistance spy.
Yeah,
Like what just happened?
bro slimed out two like multiple solar systems, but then Kylo Ren was mean to him, so he turned on
Yeah,
against
like
the first order. Like, get out, get out.
for real. That's so like I don't know. This movie was just like really bad, like written wise.
I think it's mega ass.
Yeah. What would you put it underneath Star Wars Resistance
No,
though?
probably not. I mean, I've never seen
I,
Resistance, so I don't.
yeah. I'd put it in between Acolyte and
I think that's.
would you put it before
I would probably
Acolyte?
put it above Acolyte. I think
Above
I'd
Acolyte.
rather watch Rise of Skywalker. It's a
Yeah.
actually. I mean, well, not.
I
Nah,
don't know.
I don't know. I
All right. Now that we
okay.
have our list here, is there any that you'd like move around?
Well, we're missing one show, at least that I could think of. We're missing Kenobi here.
Oh my god. Yeah, we are missing Kenobi. I can edit that in, but
Yeah,
now I liked Kenobi. I liked Kenobi a lot.
I
It made
enjoyed it overall, but I will say it was very
I
disappointing.
feel like it's better than Ahsoka.
I would agree.
I would put it above the Clone Wars show as
I would
well. Or
it's
not the Clone Wars movie, I mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably is going to go in mid tier. I think it was overall it was a pretty mid show.
Yeah.
I think the potential it had a potential to be a masterpiece, but it didn't really live up to that. I
I
feel like a lot of the story points were kind of dragged out because they didn't really have a ton of ideas for them, but they needed to make a show out of it.
yeah, I to be honest, I feel like Kenobi would have been a better suited off with a
I
2 hour movie.
completely agree, and I think that's what it was originally supposed to be, and then they changed it to a
I feel
show.
there
But
was a lot of stuff that they like kind of like edited out of the actual show that I feel
yeah,
like would have made it so much better. Like I don't know, I didn't like the whole subplot with like Riva, like the Inquisitor.
yeah,
Like
that was pretty.
like I didn't really like that too much, but the Darth Vader scenes I thought like really gained him a lot of aura.
Yes and no. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Vader scenes. I feel like they do kind of take away a little bit when you have them fight him so many
Yeah,
times. But
I also the one thing I really did like though was the Obi-Wan and Leia scenes.
yeah,
Like I
those were
didn't
pretty
like
good.
some of the Leia scenes were really bad. Like
Yeah,
especially like her like running away from like those two bounty hunters at the start of the show. It's like
yes.
I don't understand how you don't catch like a 5-year-old girl, but it really does build off for like Leia knowing Kenobi like at the
Yeah,
start
I
of New
completely
Hope.
agree. I think that's the best thing that came out of the show is it adds that
Yeah,
like layer of context.
and like there was some stuff like some smaller stuff in the show that like I really did like that they added
Hmm.
um like there was like that homeless clone trooper or like they had like the path like the Jedi like underground resistance thing where they're like
Right. Yeah.
escaping. There was some like cool like Quinlan Voss like some random like callbacks like random characters in Star Wars,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I feel like a lot of the stuff that they removed would have made the show much better. Like the Commander Cody scene that was supposed to be in it.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'd put it above the Clone Wars movie.
I
So
would agree.
like in the middle of mid. Like it wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was just there.
Yeah, would you put it above episode 2?
I would.
Probably. Yeah,
I
I
would.
probably would too.
I wouldn't put it over Bad Batch though.
Okay, I think that's
Like
fair.
I feel like Bad Batch is where I draw the line for
I think that's completely fair.
that.
I think.
But yeah, I completely agree. Like it was an okay show. It was
Mm.
a mid, but yeah. Is there any that you would move around on this list after this, or
Looking at it now, honestly, Book of Boba Fett, I think might have to move to Mega Ass. I'm not. The more I think about it, the more I hate that show. The one episode, I guess it was like 2 episodes really with the Mandalorian, were pretty
they were
good,
really good? That was
but
directed by Bryce
they were
Dallas
good
Howard.
episodes. But at the same time, I hated how they resolved that whole Mandalorian Grogu, because that's the whole plot of the first 2 seasons of the Mandalorian, and it gets resolved in 2 episodes of a
Yeah,
spin-off show.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
dude,
Like
that was
it was kind of
TSPMO,
weird. I
bro.
feel like that could have been Mandalorian season 3
It
rather than
it,
like the
it,
weird
it is
subplot.
right. That should have been in the Mandalorian show.
Yeah,
And I mean, if we're just talking about the Boba Fett specific episodes, they are
horrible.
horrible. They're so bad.
I feel like they turned him into a crime boss that doesn't
He
like
is like
crime.
he just has no personality
Yeah,
either.
I feel like they this is like an evidence of like Disneyfication of like a
I agree.
character. Like Boba Fett is supposed to be like this really cruel like bounty hunter,
You're right.
and like I mean I'm all for him kind of becoming like a good guy in a sense, but like
But that's the exact same plot that the Mandalorian has.
yeah, like he was so much better in the Mandalorian season 2 than he was in his own show.
I
Like he
agree.
had so much more
I
aura like
agree.
in the Mandalorian.
I completely agree.
But yeah, I'd put it at the top of Mega Ass.
I think I'd honestly put Rise of Skywalker over it too.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie, dude. That show
Okay.
is so mid.
The one thing I would move, I feel like I'd move Star Wars Rebels up to maybe
Okay,
a good show.
I think that's fine.
I think that the storytelling itself would really put it above everything else in that category.
Hmm.
But other than that, I mean, like, I don't know. I think
I think it's pretty
it's
solid.
solid. But like, yeah, the Mega Ass is like it's like I don't know, like some of the stuff is like genuine, like the worst like Star Wars I've ever seen.
I agree. I mean, it's the worst shows I've ever seen as well, dude.
That like I don't know. Yeah, I completely agree. But the masterpieces I feel like are some of like the best content I've ever seen. You know,
Mm,
like some of this stuff ranks in like my top like 10 movies of all time or like top 10 shows of
I
all
would
time.
agree. I think yeah, episodes 4 and 5 for me are top 20 movies of all
I'd put
time.
Revenge of the Sith in my top 10 movies.
Yeah, yeah,
Like just and then the Clone Wars I'd actually put in my top 5 TV shows.
yeah. I could see that as well.
Maybe, yeah, I'd put Andor actually in my top 5 TV shows. Maybe Clone Wars might be like a sixth or seventh, but like
Hmm.
I don't know. The masterpiece. I feel like I really do agree. Like I feel like we both like we cooked on the masterpiece here.
I think so.
But anyways, yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and yeah, we'll be back with another tier list sometime later. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.